Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. There is a halacha that we have to discuss, be aware of, because common practice is that we find that people are not aware of what issues might be attributed to this concept. And that is, it's a very big, broad concept, a mannequin, a doll, or different structures like that, that as we will soon explain, there is borderline of chshashis of avodah zara. In Hilchus Avodas Kechavim Yeridea Kuf Mem Aleph Seif Dalid, the Mechaber writes, Asur l'tzayer tzurais shebemordar shchina. It's prohibited to draw, to make a feature of the mother hashchina, as it is described in the higher supernal worlds. Kagain Dalit panim bahade adadi, to make four faces facing each other is prohibited. V'chein tzuras srafim v'ifanim malachi ashares, or to make the pictures of the malachim, that's prohibited. Okay, I don't know how applicable that is, but the next part in the Sif Dalid seems to be very much applicable. V'chein tzuras adam levadoi, just to draw, make a structure, make a picture of a person, the features of a person. Asur la soisam, it is prohibited to make them. Afilu heim lanoi, even if you make it for beauty. V'im oivik gechavim asam, and even if a guy made them, asur la soisam, you're not allowed to keep it, as it's obvious as being part of Hilchas Avodas Kechavim. Who knows, throughout the generations, throughout history, that different people worship different things. And a feature, a structure, a pestle, a statue of a person is something that Goyim do worship. So it's a borderline of Avodah Zarah. So we see that one of the things that are Avodah Zarah is Tzuras Adam. Says the Ramah, Umiyu, however, in Matzah Eisam, if one finds this, Mutarim, he is allowed to keep it because it's the Isser is only for him to make it, or if a guy made it. But if it was only found, it's prohibited. Milvad bechamo levana. The exception to the rule is if there's a picture of the sun or the moon. We know that it's a fact that there are goyim that serve the sun and moon, that you're not even allowed to keep. Or if this picture or this thing that you found, if you could prove, if you could be convinced that it was made for a guy because he was planning to worship it, then the thing that you found would be prohibited like any other tselem. So we see a serious thing. Tzuras Adam, even Lenoi, is Asr. If further on in the Sif, this is only if it sticks out. The Tzuras Adam sticks out. Avo b'shekas. However, if the feature of the person, the face of the person, is inside, ka'oisem sha'ergin bebeged, like the features that you have in a garment, in a carpet, etc., or shemitzayirim b'koisel, or those that they draw with ink, an artist, mutar la'asoisam, if it's a tzuras adam. Chama or levana, it's even asur, even if it's not shekas. Even if it's not beilatas, even if it's shekas, you're not allowed to have the tzura of a chama levana. So now we see that tzuras adam, as long as it's not a picture which it's part of the paper or in a carpet or anything like that, is asur, is chashash avodah zarah. So the obvious question is, what happens to dolls? What happens to mannequins, as I said before? How do people get around this? And it's common practice that people buy their children dolls. So if you look in Chachmas Adam, Klal Pei Hey Halacha Yud, he says, "De kahayoim ein chshada eitel tzuras Adam." Today's days, there is no chshash anymore making the tzura of a human. De'ein oivdim l'tzuras adam, because we don't find anybody serving, worshipping the tzura of adam imloi b'tzura miyuchedes, unless it's made in a specific way. Those specific ways we find people worshipping, but just a general tzuras adam we don't find. V'lochein, even he says, ha'olam soimchin lahashoisam. The common practice is that you keep it, whatever you have that has tzuras adam. Avol la'asoisam, but if you're going to make even that today, we say that it's not common practice to worship tzuras adam, still la'asoisam, to make it, you're not allowed to. So we have one small loophole, that tzuras adam is different than it used to be. But you look in Shach and Taz, and Shach and Taz, they're very machmir, and the Shach says sometimes when a person makes the dalit panim, l'chayra, if you already made one surah, you're over. What does the mechaber say that you do dalit panim, you're also over? And the Shach says it's so bad that for making dalit panim, you might be over four lavim. So you see that surah sadim is something very serious. So there is a Chassam Sofer in Chelik Vav Shaila Dalid. He says that if you make a heker hanikar, if you do something to the tzuras adam, which is noticeable, to demolish it or to pastel it, it will disqualify it and it will make it not worrisome for Avodah Zarah. And this itself becomes a issue. What is a hezek hanikar? Because in the Achrayim there was a shaila, somebody asked, could I take a doll and just make one of the eyes a little black? Just paint over the eyes. So it's mashma from the Achrayim that are more concerned about this chash, that they say you actually have to cut something off the mannequin, and not necessarily a fingertip from one of the fingers will be good enough. It has to be a hezek hanikar, or it has to be a shinoi hanikar, that it's not complete, preferably in the tzuras adam, not just the hand, in the face of the person. You do something shtickle noticeable to break its quality, and then it will lose its chash, it will lose its chashivas, and possibly have a chash of being borderline of Avodah Zarah as chash tzuras adam. Shikoyach, and please join us again next week.